The rain was coming down hard that night, the kind of rain that blurred the road into a ribbon of darkness and made every mile feel heavier than the last. When Daniel Carter saw the shape on the shoulder of the highway and felt his heart drop into his stomach. His old van was already coughing with every press of the gas, his 3 children were asleep in the back after a long, exhausting day, and every sensible voice in his head told him to keep driving. But the shape didn't move, and something about the stillness of it felt wrong in a way he couldn't ignore. Daniel was a single father with triplets, barely holding his life together, yet in that moment, without fully understanding why, he pulled over into the rain and stepped out, not knowing that this single decision would change all of their lives forever. Before the story truly unfolds, take a moment and ask yourself this: do you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of doing the right thing even when it costs you something? If you do, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, subscribe to the channel for more stories like this, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Your support helps keep stories like this alive. Daniel Carter had not planned to become a single dad. 5 years earlier, his life looked completely different. He had a steady job as a delivery supervisor, a modest home, and a wife named Emily whose laughter used to fill every quiet corner of their days. Then life struck with a cruelty he never saw coming. Emily died suddenly from complications after childbirth, leaving Daniel alone with 3 premature babies and a grief so heavy it felt like it was crushing his chest every time he tried to breathe. From that day on, survival became his only plan. He worked night shifts, took extra routes, learned how to warm bottles with one hand while rocking a baby with the other, and slowly watched his savings disappear under medical bills, childcare costs, and the endless, invisible expenses of raising 3 children at once. The triplets, Noah, Lucas, and Lily, were the only light he had left. They were 5 years old now, all different despite sharing the same birthday. Noah was quiet and thoughtful, always watching the world like he was trying to understand it. Lucas was restless and energetic, forever climbing, running, and asking questions Daniel didn't always have the energy to answer. Lily was soft-hearted and observant, the kind of child who noticed when her father looked tired and would gently place her small hand on his arm without saying a word. Daniel loved them fiercely, but love didn't pay rent, and love didn't fix a van that was one breakdown away from dying on the side of the road. That night, Daniel was coming back from a late delivery, the triplets strapped into their seats in the back, worn out from staying up past their bedtime because he couldn't afford a sitter. The rain made the road dangerous, and every mile felt like a risk. When he saw the woman lying near the roadside, soaked, motionless, barely visible under the flickering beam of his headlights, panic rushed through him. He thought about his kids, asleep and defenseless. He thought about being late, about the possibility of danger, about how little he had left to give. Then he thought about Emily, about the kind of person she was, and how she never walked past someone in need. That memory pushed him forward. The woman was pale, her clothes torn and muddy, her breathing so shallow that Daniel had to lean close just to see her chest rise. He called emergency services with shaking hands, shielding her from the rain with his jacket while checking on his children every few seconds. Time stretched painfully while they waited. The triplets woke up, frightened by the storm and the strange stop, but Daniel kept them calm as best he could, his voice steady even as fear churned inside him. When the ambulance finally arrived and took the woman away, Daniel thought that would be the end of it. A hard night, a good deed, then back to the same struggling life. But it wasn't the end. It was the beginning. Days passed, and life returned to its familiar rhythm of exhaustion and quiet worry. Daniel didn't even tell anyone what happened. He had no energy for stories, no expectation of thanks. Then, a week later, his phone rang while he was folding laundry late at night. The call came from the hospital. The woman had survived. Her name was Margaret Wilson, and she had been unconscious for days after collapsing on the road due to a severe medical episode combined with dehydration. The nurse told Daniel that Margaret had been asking for him, insisting on finding the man who stopped and saved her life. Daniel didn't know what to say. He almost didn't go. He felt out of place in hospitals, surrounded by reminders of loss and fear. But something told him to visit, so the next afternoon he brought the triplets with him, their small hands gripping his as they walked through the sterile halls. Margaret was sitting up in bed when they entered, her face still pale but her eyes full of something warm and alive. She looked at Daniel like she was seeing a miracle standing in front of her, not a tired man with dark circles under his eyes and worn-out shoes. Margaret Wilson's life had been unraveling quietly before that night. She was a retired schoolteacher who had lost her husband years earlier and recently discovered she had no close family left. The day Daniel found her, she had been driving herself to a distant clinic after receiving troubling medical news, determined to handle it alone as she always had. Her body simply gave out. Waking up in the hospital, knowing she would have died unseen on that road if Daniel hadn't stopped, changed something deep inside her. Gratitude became more than a feeling, it became a purpose. Over the following weeks, Margaret and Daniel stayed in touch. It started with simple check-ins, then small offers of help. She brought groceries one afternoon. She offered to watch the kids while Daniel ran errands. Slowly, without either of them fully realizing it, she became part of their lives. The triplets adored her. She read to them, helped them with letters and numbers, and filled the house with a calm, steady presence that Daniel hadn't realized he was missing so desperately. As Margaret grew stronger, she learned more about Daniel's struggles. She saw the way he skipped meals so the kids could eat better, the way he patched things together instead of replacing them, the way he carried his grief silently like a private burden. Margaret had resources Daniel didn't know about. She helped him apply for assistance programs, connected him with community groups, and encouraged him to take a job opportunity that offered better hours. She never made him feel like a charity case. She treated him like family. But Margaret's impact didn't stop there. She had spent her life saving carefully, never expecting much from the world. After nearly losing her life, her priorities shifted. She funded an educational savings account for the triplets, insisting that it was an investment in the future that Daniel had already earned through his kindness. She helped him repair the van properly, eliminating the constant fear of being stranded. She even helped him turn his delivery experience into a small local logistics business, guiding him with the wisdom of someone who had spent decades believing in people. Months turned into a year, and the Carter household transformed in ways Daniel never imagined. There was laughter again, real laughter, not just the forced kind he used to keep his kids smiling. There was stability, hope, and a sense of belonging. Margaret wasn't replacing anyone, she was adding something new, something healing. The triplets started calling her Grandma Margaret without anyone suggesting it, and when she heard it, she cried quietly in the kitchen, overwhelmed by a love she thought was gone from her life forever. Daniel often thought about that rainy night. How close he came to driving past. How easily fear and exhaustion could have silenced his better instincts. He realized that kindness doesn't always look heroic in the moment. Sometimes it looks like a tired man stopping on a dark road when he has every reason not to. Sometimes it looks like choosing compassion even when you're barely surviving yourself. As this story draws closer to its end, if you feel something stirring in your chest right now, if this journey of struggle, kindness, and unexpected family has touched your heart even a little, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs a reminder that good deeds matter, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps these stories reach the people who need them most. Daniel's life didn't become perfect. There were still hard days, still moments when grief resurfaced, still challenges that tested his strength. But now he didn't face them alone. And Margaret, once forgotten on the side of a road, found herself surrounded by a family she never planned for but loved with all her heart. Their lives became proof that one small act of kindness can ripple outward in ways we may never fully understand. Before this story ends, we have one special request for you. Please comment below and tell us what this story made you feel, or share a moment in your own life when kindness changed everything for you. The rain that night could have washed away a life and left 3 children growing up without ever knowing how close their world came to breaking apart. Instead, it became the beginning of a new chapter written by compassion, courage, and the quiet power of stopping when it matters most.